Hello, in this video I'm going to answer the question, why can't I look after myself like I look after everybody else? It's a question I get asked a lot. Now, I generally work with executives and business owners who are in the health space, the wellness space, the hospitality space, and you'll notice that all of those different areas have something in common. People are looking after other people as a job, and generally they tend to be looking after everyone else at home and around them and in their community as well, and it's exhausting. And I want to just kind of dig into that a little bit today. Why does that happen? Well, the people, again, that I work with tend to be incredibly compassionate. They're really helpful. They notice straight away when someone's needs aren't being met, and they know how to meet them. Now, the reason for that very often is because those needs are not being met in themselves. Now, this is really controversial, what I'm about to say, but sometimes it's easier to meet other people's needs than to get your needs met yourself, and that's what tends to happen. What I notice with the clients that I see is that often there's a lot of resentment there as well. I personally feel that too. I come from the same ilk, working in wellness, and there are times when I feel it's just not right. The last time I was driving my son to the station at breakneck speed to get him to the station on time for, I don't know how many times in the week, and thinking, why am I doing this? Why can't he just get it together? And the thing is that we want to fill that gap for people, and of course we do, as parents, as mothers as well. And I want to talk to you about John Bowlby. Now, most of you, if you come from a health background, will know who John Bowlby is. Bowlby, never know how to say his name, but he was a British psychologist who was particularly interested in how we created attachments as babies, as infants and children, and what that really meant. So there were many experiments in the 1950s that were not great experiments, if we're honest. What it showed was that babies, when they are having all of their needs met, so for example they're being cuddled, they're being comforted, as soon as they cry they're being picked up, so when that happens, there's this secure attachment that takes place with the child, where they trust very, very easily because they've got no reason not to trust. Their needs are being met all the time. And this becomes a basis of how we as humans become attached or not attached, or insecurely attached in the world. So when we're securely attached, so when all of our needs are being met, we feel worthy of love, we grow up to be quite healthy and happy adults, and secure in the belief that you can count on others to provide comfort and support. But when we're insecurely attached, so that might be where a parent is inconsistent, so sometimes they might respond straight away and sometimes they might not, they can be perhaps cold and rejecting, then that infant gets totally different attachment. Insecure attachment, essentially. So they learn that the world is not a safe place, and then completely untrusting. So when we're insecurely attached as adults, we tend to feel unworthy, unlovable. We believe that other people can't be trusted. There's this constant feeling of insecurity, and of course it affects our ability to form relationships later in life. Now, not all of us sit in between, either in the securely or the insecurely attached, because other things can happen too. So little traumas, the tiniest of traumas. When we think about trauma, we tend to think of an absolutely awful thing happening, and of course some of us have that happening in our childhood, and some of us have some little sort of small traumas that are totally traumatic in a child's eyes, but in an adult's eyes probably wouldn't be seen as particularly traumatic. And that also can cause this feeling of unlovable. I'm unlovable. For example, a parent leaving before the age of 7, we might feel like we're unlovable, that we are, and we are much less likely to have self-compassion for ourselves. So basically, Bowlby said that these are our internal working models of self, and they have a significant impact on how we are in the world and how we look after ourselves, how we treat ourselves. But here's the thing, it's not etched in stone. So we tend to think, well, it's always going to be like that. I always feel like this because of my childhood, which actually is not true at all. What I find is, and comes from Kristen Neff, who's written a brilliant book called Selfcompassion. And what she says is we have to have compassion for the feelings of insecurity that we have, rather than trying to move them away, block them out, but actually say, yes, do you know what? I do feel insecure, and that's okay. I can feel that. If we don't do that, then we create this world really that reflects that insecurity. So I'm sure you will maybe have heard me talk before about how we create the world around us according to what we feel inside. So if we feel insecure, then we will find all the people who reject us. We will find all the people who are arses to be around, because that fulfills this idea that we have of the world, when actually it's not true. There's lots of wonderful people out there that we could surround ourselves with. So be kind and accepting of who you are and how you feel. And every time you feel insecure, every time you interpret somebody's actions as deliberate rejection, then you need to say this: I love and accept myself exactly as I am. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. So I'm going to leave you with that affirmation to say at any time you feel insecure, any time that you feel that you've had deliberate rejection, and any time that you're feeling a little bit fed up, that you've been looking after every bugger else but not taking time for yourself. It's time for self-compassion for you, and I help you do that.